Good morning, Rabbi Sai. Leilu Nishmas Chaim Oren. Today is the 11th day of the Omer. Aryeh Yom Shem Shavuot Chad Bar Yomim La Omer or Ba Omer. I want to welcome my very good friend Avi Kamiansky, who sits next to me every single day in Ramat Shemesh, and he made it out here. He's here in America on business, but he came out to this year, and it gives me that extra energy that I need. There's nothing like being in the live share in Ramat Shemesh. It's great to be here in Chicago with Eine Daima. And once I mention his name, it's an opportunity to give the Olam Chizuk. Everybody could do what Avi did. Avi put his mind to it. He thinks constantly, on a daily basis, what could he do to improve Torah in the world and have more people learn Torah. And one of the things he came up with on his own was MDY Kids. He did not just come up with it, but he initiated it, he started, he funded it, made it go, and he makes it go every single day. We have 80 kids that learn a daf a day with prizes. Then he came up with the Kahoot thing. He found Kahoot. So he said, okay, let's do Kahoot for adults. So now he has a Chazara program for adults on Sotah, which just yesterday, the person sitting on your seat there, he told me, Phil, what's his last name? Phil Byrne, thank you. He does the Kahoot, and he says it's phenomenal. It makes him think a little bit more during shir, pay more attention. They're not very difficult questions, but it's it's there, and you can't just space out and go to sleep. Easy questions, but it makes the learning more geschmack. So Yishkoyach Avi, anybody could come up with an idea, anybody could initiate and go with it and make it happen. You just have to think about it. You have to want it. So Yishkoyach Avi, because it's early today and wasn't that much time to prepare, so we're not going to have that many emails like yesterday. But it's about the Yomi, says the email, anonymous from MDY. It's not just a tzushto from the Daf to the Sphira. It's real. I'm with MDY since the Daf Beis, and the Yomi is something that's affecting me in different areas of my life. I don't remember last time still counting Sphira with a Bracha at this point, 10 days in. Okay? Listen, seriously, a lot of people, over the years, they said it's like the very first time in their life that they finished Sphira from beginning to end. It's not just about finishing Masechtas. There's also Sheine Mikra. There's Mishnayos. On a side note, here's a joke. I don't know if I should say this joke. Okay, well, I'll put it on the screen. If somebody wants to see it and read it to themselves, great. Right now, I'm not going to read it.
Well, that was way too fast.
I was halfway through.
You're going to have to pause it. It was a joke about a reform rabbi. I don't know if I should say it. Hi, Rebelli. Stam. I was listening to emails and you posted a picture of a guy learning the daf at the baseball game. This is a big horror. A boy said, pay good attention to this email. It's very important for all those who didn't know this. You commented that there's a lot of time to learn by a baseball game because it's slow and boring, etc. Just wanted to point out that MLB came out with a new rule. Rabbi said, new rule. New rule change this season. There's a new pitch clock, so there's only 15 seconds between pitches when bases are empty and 20 seconds with runners on the base. It makes baseball a lot more engaging and fun. So let them should know, okay? In case they don't thought it's not, I have charata. It's much more fun, but there's still some time to learn that between innings. So I want to be mechulik on this chashuv person. There's still time to learn between pitches. 15 seconds is enough time to learn a few lines. You don't have to wait for the inning. Don't say, okay, when I have time. Right now, you have time. 15 seconds, do it. Think, what? At a soccer game?
No. The time between when he finished one ice and when Chazan started Hatzlacha, in those couple of seconds.
Yeah.
Over the course of a couple of years.
What do you mean a couple seconds? In my shul, it's 15 minutes. From when I finish Shemona Esrei till the Chazan starts Shemona Esrei, it's 15 minutes. You finish shots every year. That Rav, yeah, okay, I got it. Yeah, I got what you're saying. Depends where you live. Maybe, he was the Rav of the shul, so they started immediately when he finished, but he was able to. I got what you're saying. Thank you for always giving a great cheer and joining the daf since Ksubas by Anonymous. Dear Rav Eli, Shavuot Tov, I hope your visit was meaningful and enjoyable. Thank you for empowering the Olam to power through in light of a passable backlog from Yom Tov. I personally found it easy to keep on going with the daf. The real challenge will be the fall Jewish holiday season consisting of Rosh Hashanah through Simchas Torah. Wishing you, your family, and all of them many blessings. Thank you sincerely, Mr. Lee Margulis from Stony Brook, New York, Long Island, USA. Stony Brook, New York, Long Island, USA. Gewaldig. Some people find Rosh Hashanah challenging, some people find Pesach challenging, some people don't find anything challenging, some people, each to their own. But you know what, Daf Yomi is challenging. Day in, day out, to do it every day. You have to stick with it. Rabbi said the Koil is sponsored by Anonymous from Lakewood, the Masech is sponsored by Eli Stefansky, Leilu Nishmas Menachem Toporowitz, Menachem Toporowitz. We have Avi Kamyansky here. He'll remind me to pay my bill. I don't even know how much it is. It's like $9,000 or something. I don't have to ask Yosef. Maybe he'll give me a discount. The Magachir discount. The MDY Family, Leilu Nishmas Chaim Oren, Zechus Bracha ben ybl'c Eliyahu. Paras Leilu Nishmas Chaim bas Yosef. Paras Entire MDY Family, Leilu Nishmas Abraham Menachem. You see, I have more energy. Obvious here, so it's a different thing. Leilu Nishmas Abraham Menachem and Moshe Aryeh. Leilu Nishmas Zechrya and Moshe. One of my favorite people is going to walk in soon. I'm serious. You'll see. Count to 20 and I'll be here. Day is a zechus. The exam should go well and all should be 100%. We should all be 100% healthy. Refuah Shelaima. And the art is sponsored for complete refuah for Chaim Tzvi Ben Leah. My boys, here we go. So, what? 9,000. It is 9,000? You just got the thing, 9,000. Okay, great. I got a discount because I thought it's 10. Rabbi say we are holding on Daf Amud Beis. We basically got to the bottom, but I think it's kedai to back up a little bit, do it over without any mistakes, as I had yesterday. And it's easy and simple. It's Sotah. Here we go. Tana Rabbanan. Like 10 lines from the bottom. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 lines. Tana Rabbanan. Zois Tar Zaknois. In these 3 words, we have 2 contradictions. Zois means this, and only this is the way to do a kinoi and a stira, to do the parsha of Sotah. Tairas is plural. So which one is it? Melamed, Sha'isha, Shaisa, V'Shoina. Says the Tanakam, we have 3 shittas over here. Tanakam says, I knew it. He is my favorite, one of my favorite. No. We just started this second. Zois Tar Zaknois. That there's only one time, it's a one-time deal that this woman is brought to the Beis Hamikdash, that's it. However, since it says Tairas, it says in plural, so it says you can do it over and over. So Tanakama says over and over. Now we're gonna have to limit this. Let me just show you real quickly how this works. I don't know why there's a phone number there. I have no idea how they got there. Seriously. That is funny and weird all at the same time. Somebody's playing around with the computer. Somebody took it off. Did you guys see that? I'm serious. I didn't do that. Oh my God. So somebody's on my computer. Yishkoyach, whoever you are, for taking it off. I'm not going to accuse you. No, I seriously, I saw that number as I was leaving, and it just went by, but I didn't realize it was on. Okay, so probably Avremi in the hospital was able to remove it real quickly. I can't remove it here because I'm not in. It's in full screen by me. I don't have the ability to. Anyway, the bottom line is like this. Okay, let's go through the shittas and we're going to see real quickly. According to the Tanakama, if you look on the left side, we have on the top, the word zois comes to exclude, to take away. Tairas comes to include, to add. So Tanakama says every case and every situation, almost 90% of the cases, or whatever the amount is, most of the cases you can bring the wife to the Beis Hamikdash over and over, whether it's the same husband, different, because there's 2 options. You have a husband and you have the nayef, 2 men. 1 woman. Could I bring this woman again to the Beis Hamikdash? She went through the process, she came out clean, she's tar, she's great, she got the brachas. A year later, the husband decides again, well, maybe she's nayef, maybe she's mizana, bring her again to the Beis Hamikdash. Could you or can't? Well, if it's the same husband, that's the most problematic. Why? Because the problem is with him. It's in his head. He has issues. He has nervin. Okay? So why should he be able to bring his wife and make her meshuga over and over? That's the biggest problem. If we're talking about another husband, she remarried, that's the easiest to understand. Why shouldn't he? He never warned her. Maybe she's crazy. Maybe she has problems. And then you have the same noyef. Well, you already choshed this man, and she came out clean. Well, what if it's another man and another husband? She got married for a second time, and now it's about another man completely. That's the easiest case to understand that she should be able to go to the Beis HaMikdash again. So, according to the Tanna Kama, all cases you bring it to the Beis HaMikdash, besides one case. Besides, because it says Zois, it comes to exclude one case, and that is when the husband, the same husband number one, is accusing her with the same man again. That makes the most sense. You have to exclude one case. You're going to exclude the easiest case. It doesn't make sense that she was mizana with the man that she already came out that she's completely tar. Now let's go to the bottom, okay? Because the Chachamim are the exact opposite. Chachamim say we take the word Zois very seriously. It comes to exclude every single case. You can never bring the wife to the Beis HaMikdash for a second time. There is one case you could. That's the other extreme, where she remarried another man. So the second man is bringing her, not the first husband, and it's with another individual. It's not with the first individual. Now he's chashider with the complete. In that case, and then you have Rabbi Yehuda that argues in the middle cases. Okay, either it's with the second husband, but the original man, or it's in the two. In the final case, the Chacham say that's okay. The second husband with another man. Okay, let's see inside. Tanakama says you could always schlep her to Beis HaMikdash to drink the Sotah. Rabbi Yehuda Omer Zois Sheine Isha Shoysa v'Sheine, and of course we're going to explain it because that's not what we have here on the screen. Rabbi Yehuda says no, she doesn't. Oh, Rabbi Yehuda, there was a story with Nechunya, who was a big tzaddik who used to dig ditches for Klal Yisrael, so to fill it up with water, so when they come up to the Beis HaMikdash for the 3 Yamim Tovim, they'll have water. Shoisha Shoisa v'Sheine, and we said it might be another Nechunya, a later generation, maybe lived very long. Two husbands. Okay, I don't know what I said yesterday. I'm afraid to even look what I said yesterday, but the real pshat is Shnei Anoshim is two husbands. But if it's two separate husbands, that makes sense. The second husband has the right to be chaysheder. Not in one husband. He can never, one husband, he has a one-time opportunity to bring it to the Beis HaMikdash. That's it. 20 years later, he's chayshed again, too bad. Chacham say no, regardless, doesn't matter if it's two husbands, the second husband doesn't have a right. Once this woman was brought to the Beis HaMikdash, it's all over. What do we do? At the end of the day, there is a miyut and there's a ribui. What do each one do with the others, miyut and ribui? Says Rava, there is no argument in the case, the most obvious cases, the two cases that are very obvious. Now what? One husband, the first husband, and the same boil, the same noyev guy, the same avarya. Of course, you could only give her to drink once. Even though he's accusing her a second time, that's too bad on him. That's his mishigas. We don't care about that. D'chsiv zois. So the word zois comes to exclude that very obvious case. Now, top of Yutes Amud Aleph. The extreme case. And we're already talking about that she remarried a second husband and he's accusing her of a second man, a completely different individual. Everybody agrees. We give her to drink a second time. So where's the machlokes? The same husband, but he's accusing her of another man. And the second husband, but he's accusing her of the original man. Okay. So the word toiras comes to include every case besides one. Zois, and the word zois comes to exclude the most obvious case. When the same guy, the same husband is accusing her of the same noyev. Now you jump down to the bottom of the chart. The Rabbanon all the way in the bottom, all in red. Zois the mutikulik. It's all red. In other words, you never bring her to the Beis HaMikdash. But it says the word toiras to come to include. You have to include something. To come to include the most obvious case when she remarried and he's accusing her of another individual. Yehuda, he's in the middle. The word Zois comes to exclude two things, and Taurus comes to include two things. One husband, whether he's accusing her of the same man or a second man. And the word Taurus comes to include two things. If she remarried and he's accusing her of the same bad guy that the first husband accused her, and certainly in the case of she remarried, he's accusing her of a second noyef. Look at Rashi for a second. I think it's a very interesting Rashi. Rashi did Ramaskel Rabbi Yehuda Svirle. 10 lines from the top. I always say 10 lines, unless it's less than 10 lines or more than 10 lines. It always comes out 10 lines. Sometimes it's 11, 12, 13, whatever. Rabbi Yehuda Svirle, the achar shariba akosavumiyat. Once the Torah says an inclusion and exclusion, and the Torah doesn't tell us specifically what it is. Says Rashi, beautiful. It's geschmack. It might be a side for all of Shas. The Torah gave the Chachamim the power to darshan what these words mean. Because we have a problem with these words. You darshan it the way, lefi chachmasam, according to their chachma. Maribo mamiyat. What did the Torah mean? Umistabro. And logically speaking, when you have a riboy, the riboy, ashnei anashim koi. It makes a lot of sense that the Torah comes to say that when she remarried, then you could give her the water, even if they're both, the two husbands, accused her of the same man. But not when it's the same husband. Why? Once he already brought her to the Beis Hamikdash and we found out that she was completely innocent, we're talking about an evasive guy, a guy that still has mishigasin in his head. He's a jealous husband. There are such things, jealous husband. Just because he's jealous, so you're going to make her betzar, you're going to make her, she lives in Tzvat, and make her go all the way up to the Beis Hamikdash and embarrass her and remove the clothing and tear and take off her sheitel and the whole thing. That's not nice.
Is there anything for multiple wives that he does? If he has 5 wives, he does in one.
Why should there be a difference? Multiple, not. I don't see a difference. Oh, you're saying he has I hear. You're saying once, but it doesn't say anything like that in the Gemara, and I don't think there should be a difference, but I hear your concern. You're saying he already struck out with wife number 1, so the guy's a shtickle nutty, so why should he be able to do it to wife number 2? But that's it. Listen, she married a nut, so she's going to have to go through the process once. When she goes through once, she's done. Fine. With that, we finished the second parak in Sotah. Hadran Allah, Chaya maybe, Hadran Allah, Chaya maybe, Hadran Allah, Chaya maybe. Thank you. Chaya noitas mechasa. You saw the screen just jump back to me? That's Avremi in the hospital. Oh, I have to say, seriously, I forgot to say this. Avremi Cohen, who's one of our tech guys, I don't know how you call him, but he's a big tech guy. He does a lot of stuff for us, and he did this program for us here, and it's working very well. I just heard from Avi, he said that Eretz Yisrael goes off without a hitch. Every morning they have the shir on time, which was a struggle for us in the past. So now Baruch Hashem, and we like it. It's not for people like myself, because there's 20 steps and I get lost at step 1920 is where we had the issues. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is that I have to give him a tremendous yishkoach in public because he's been in and out of the hospital with an infection and he's on heavy medication and sometimes he's drowsy and with everything, with being in the hospital. And I think yesterday he's on the way to the hospital and in the car, on the phone, he got the shir started. So a tremendous yishkoach to Avremi and should have a Refuah Shelaima b'karev. It's not a big thing. He showed me. It's like his finger's swollen, but he just can't get over this. It's a serious infection. Haya noitels mechasa matoich kfifa. Who's Haya? Who? So the article says, Rashi says, I should say, but you guys are cheating. The husband. It's not the kohen. There's, as we learned, that there's certain stuff in the procedure that the husband's allowed to get involved until the Torah says the kamatz, until the kmitza part, the husband can do everything, not including the hagasha. Fine. We're going to see all of it again. So I'll show it. He put it in there. I'm going to show it. Here's Avrami. I didn't see it. I gave him Mishkan before seeing it. Here's Avrami in the hospital. Avrami Shayach and Aryeh ben Dvari Rus. Refuah Shelaima B'Karev. Here he is. And he even blurred out an akeva, Givaldik. Okay. He knows my very makbid on these things. We don't really show pictures of women on the shir. But here he is. Okay, great. But he should have Refuah Shelaima. We don't want to. Who knows who's watching, who gets insulted, and who doesn't get insulted. So this is a kfifa mitzvah Rabbi Sai. As we learned, this is made out of some very, very cheap material from a palm tree, and it's full of flour. So he takes barley flour. He takes this kli full of barley flour. V'noisna l'toich kli sharis. In order to be mekadesh, step it up a level. Because right now it's Kedushas Damim, and I want to get it to Kedushas Haguf. I take the flour, and by me putting it into the golden kli or whatever vessel that's in the Beis Hamikdash, and I have kavana to do it, boom, it becomes Kadosh Kedushas Haguf. V'noisna al yada. Now he makes her hold it. Before we made her hold it, why? To tire her out, and we had a svara that if she gets tired, she'll admit easier. But now she has to hold it because she's part of the process. The kohen meniach yodai mitachteha. The kohen places his hand underneath in order to do tnufa. Let's see if we have it in here. Hold on. Surprise. Let's see. Hold on. Let me go by myself for a second. I don't want to make you guys nuts. Here we go. Oh, it is in here. Let me just make sure it's good. Okay, good. Let me show you what Yoshi did, and it wasn't in here when I got here. Here we go. So he does tnufa. Tnufa looks like this. Here's the basket with the. Well, this is not good. I'll tell you why this picture is not good. Okay, I just noticed it now. Yoshi has to change it to what? We're talking about a klisharis. So it doesn't look like this. This is the kfifa mitzvahs. Okay, he's not going to be happy with me. So this should be like a golden kli or something. I don't know if it's the choshes gold something. And with her hands are there now. So it could be he's going like Taisus over here, like the Taisus Shans, because the Yerushalmi has a question here not a question, but the question is, how does a kohen touch this woman's hands? He's not allowed to touch her. So one pshat in Taisus brings Yerushalmi. We're talking about an old man. It's not a problem for him. Another pshat is that no, he's young, but since it's so quick, listen, the Torah says to do it. That's how you do it, and finished. You don't ask questions. It's almost like a doctor. He's busy with his with the mitzvah. He's busy, and then she's about to explode, not explode. So he puts his hands there. Great. Taisus Shans, and I guess Yoshi passing like the Taisus Shans. I didn't have a chance to see it before, but the Taisus Shans says that he places his hands below her hands, meaning she has it on a higher place on the kli, and he has it below, but they're both touching the same kli, and he helps her out. And that's the Gemara that we're going to have today from the Psukim. It seems like they're both doing it at the same exact time. So basically, it's up, down, forward, backwards. That's how he did forward. It's like large, you can see forward, back. It's up, down, like a lulav. Again, like I keep on saying, we do a lulav because this is how they did Tnuf in the Beis Hamikdash. And every time I talk about Tnuf, I talk about Avi Kamiansky, who was riding his bike in the hills of Bet Shemesh, and he stopped an Arab, and he said, listen, here's 100 shekel, whatever, I don't know, you paid him? He wouldn't take money. He grabbed the sheep, and he went, because that's what they used to do in the Beis Hamikdash. And it's not easy to lift up a sheep. Up, down, right, front, and left. Okay. He's not a kohen, but you're supposed to, here, look, not a kohen does the tnufa here, a regular. Fine. V'nois nal yoda, v'kohen meniach yodei tachteha, u'manifa, and he does tnufa. Now we just saw what tnufa is. Hey, Nef, after you do tnufa, The Higish. I've always have a question. Don't answer it all together. What corner of the Mizbeach does the Kohen take the Mincha and touch it? What corner? What corner? Why southwest? Oh, so it worked. Southwest. These guys, by the way, they're stark. They know what's flying. Just because they know the answer doesn't mean everybody watching knows the answer. Because southwest, like I showed the picture of the airline. You remember that also? Easy to remember, right? You see a thing, boom, done. Okay, so because we... Here we go. Oh, vey, not this one. This one. The Kiar, southwest corner. And here, southwest corner from a bird's eye view. Okay, Givaldi, okay, it was worth it. I'm saying worth showing that picture of southwest. Everything good? You're 30 minutes in? You have a few minutes.
6.5 minutes.
That's why when we bought our camera in MDY, we had to make sure it's one of those cameras that could do more than 30. A lot of the cameras, even though this is an expensive camera, they limit video to a certain amount of time. All right. Now listen to this, Rabbi Isai. Unbelievable. The guy in Rabbi Yosef Engel, he had a kasha here, a bomb kasha. If this woman is lifting up the knufa, she's doing knufa together with the kohen, guess what she could do? She could have a bad thought, meaning she could think that she's going to be mefagel this thing. They're going to eat it. She's going to do it after the time, whatever it is. She could have a thought that ruins the whole thing, and therefore, when they put it onto the mizbeach, it's nothing, and the waters won't work. She has a way out of it. She could ruin it if she's involved in the process. We know that a kohen could ruin the entire process. If he hates the Yisrael, he could purposely think to himself, this is a bad carbon because we're going to eat it after the time. We're going to bring it outside. We're going to eat it with chutz l'zman, chutz l'makam. So she could also do it. And by that, there's no way, that's his kasha. He wrote a sefer called Gvura Shmoinim that has 80 tirutzim on this one kasha. And he said, a musar haskell for everybody. He said, had I called the sefer Gvuros Meya, I would have been able to force myself to think about another 20 tirutzim. That's what he said. A musar, seriously. It's true. If you put yourself in a position, you put yourself in a corner, say, this is what I'm going to do, you will be able, you'll succeed. You just have to do it. You have to think. So I would have thought harder, I'd have come out with more tirutzim. Unfortunately, I don't even know one of the tirutzim out of all 100. 80. Says there are 100. What do you mean? There are at least he said there's 100. He only wrote 80. I don't know if he knew all 100. Says the Gemara. Some Mishnah. Bigish Kometz v'Hikter. He did Kmitza. Let's see if there's a Kmitza thing here. Yeah. This one is Kmitza. In case you don't know what Kmitza is, it means you put your hand into the flour and grab 3 fingers worth of flour. And with your thumb, you go like this. With your pinky, you go like that. Sometimes it's one of the hardest avodas in the Beis Hamikdash because it's thicker, and you're not supposed to even miss one piece of flour. Okay. Says the Mishnah. So you put that little piece onto the mizbeach, and then the rest of this flour, the kohanim eat it. And we said already, they throw in some honey to make it tasty. So now let's go back. Vashar, the word before Vashar nechal kohanim, what does it say? V'hikter. Put it on the mizbeach. You put that little piece, the little kmitza on the mizbeach, and the rest he could eat. So what does it say? V'hikter. You already put it on the mizbeach. Let's go weiter. Hoyamashka. He gives her water to drink, and then it says va'achar kach makriv es menchosa. Then he puts it on the mizbeach. We already said he put it on the mizbeach. The Gemara will address that. This is the classic shita that we know of, that once the woman drinks the water, she explodes. In other words, the drinking is all the way at the end. It's the last part, and that shows us whether or not she sinned or not. Chacham say no. First she drinks, she doesn't explode. She only after you bring the mincha. The mincha comes after the drinking. She explodes after the mincha. Shenemar v'achi yashkes isha samayim. After everything, then you give her to drink. But if you reversed it, you gave her water and then you were makriv the mincha, kshera. So Taisus points out that according to everybody, no matter what way you do it, it's going to be kosher. The Mishnah is just saying each one has a different shita. What's lechatchila? What's after the fact? Everybody agrees it works. Whether you give her the water first and then the mincha first and the water. The machlokes is, what should you do lechatchila? Should you give the water first and then the mincha, or mincha first and then the water? Says Gemara, Omer le Rebbe Lazar le Rabbi Yoshia de Dore. Rebbe Lazar said to Rabbi Yoshia in his generation. Explains Rashi because there's two Rabbi Yoshias, and we want to say it's the younger one, the Dore of his generation, because if he was talking to the older one, it wouldn't make sense in the next sentence. Like Teisiv Akaroch ad mefarish laha milsa. Don't sit down until you explain to me what's going on. Keep standing. You don't talk like that. Imagine you're a 20-year-old person. You go to the Gala Adar, and don't sit down until you explain to me Pshat. You don't talk like that. But if he's his generation, their acquaintances, they're the same. So you could talk like that. Don't sit down until you explain to me. Sometimes sitting down is like, you relax. You standing up. In those days, they used to learn Torah. I don't know. Those days, there's a certain kufa that they started sitting down. Until a certain point, everybody's learning Torah standing up. You're more refreshed. You do. Don't sit down. How do you know that the Sotah, the mincha of the Sotah, you have to wave it? It says first in the pasuk. No, what I meant to ask is bebalim min olan. How do I know that the woman has to wave it? It says Gemara yad yad mishlamim. I learned from Shlomo. We're talking about the chazan shoik, says Rashi. The thigh, the breast, that's a gift that you have to wave it. By us it says only the kain, because that's the Gemara's question. By us it says that the kain, it doesn't mention anything that the woman waves it. It says only kain. Uchsiv hasam by shlamim it says yodav tiviyana, only the owner waves it. Ma kan koyin af lahalon koyin, ma lahalon ba'alim af kan ba'alim. In other words, we use our pasuk for shlamim and we use shlamim for us. By shlamim it says that the owner waves it, so we know that Sotah, the owner waves it. Sotah says that the koyin waves it, so we know that the owner waves it, that the koyin waves it. By shlamim also. Okay, so but how's it possible? How do two people wave it? They put their hands underneath each other and they wave it together. It says in the Mishnah. As the Gemara Akriva, as I pointed out, it already says one time that it was put on the Mizbech. Why are you telling me that you give her the water and then you makriv? It's not true. You makriv before it. Says the Gemara, say the Menachais, or her mincha, the seder of her mincha keitzad. In other words, what the Gemara is going to answer is that what happens at the end is machlokes. But let's just talk about the first steps. Keitzad heinif vehigish komatz vehikter. Ubashka gufa, and the drinking part, pligi Reb Shimon, Rabbanon. Now we have the machlokes. Rabbanon hold first you drink, and in other words, the mincha is what makes her explode. Reb Shimon says the opposite. It's the drinking that makes her explode. But if they reversed it, first came the drinking and then came that krava, it's still kosher. Daf Yomi Beis sponsored Hatzlacha Aryeh Leib. Mashe bad Bracha Hatzlacha for the members of the HBA Group and the families of May. Torah V'hishka matam aloymar barik var nemar. Hold on, let's get to it. Rabbi say, here are the psukim. Pasuk of Daled, Pasuk of Vav, Pasuk of Zayin. All three psukim say that we give her to drink. The first pasuk, Vishkas Aishas Me'amar Amarim, then we do the mincha. V'achar Yashkes Aishas Vishkas Amayim. So why do we need 3 psukim that tell us that we give her water to drink? It already says in pasuk of Daled V'ishka. She'im nimchaka Megillah v'omeres eni shoisa. If the Megillah was already erased, the name of Hashem was already erased, and that's what we care a lot about. V'omeres eni shoisa, and then she says, I refuse to drink the water. Ma'arim oisa u'mashkin oisa ba'al karcha divrei Rebbe Akiva. Now, we have to understand this. At any given point, anywhere, in the entire procedure, after the Megillah, after she drank, it doesn't matter. She could always say, I was Mizana, and we believe her. And if she says that, then the process is over. All we want to do is we don't want to have a suffering. We want to know what happened there. We're not trying to punish her. We're not trying to do anything. We want to know, are they going to be mamzerim here? What's going on? So she has the right at any given time to say, I was Mizana. What she doesn't have a right, says Rebbe Akiva, is to say, I don't want to drink. If she doesn't say, hey, I was Mizana, I'm not drinking. If she says that, that's great. But that's not what she's saying. She's saying, I don't feel like drinking. You know what we're going to do? We're going to force you to drink. You know why? Because you made us erase Hashem's name. You should have told us this beforehand, that you don't want to drink. Once you erase Hashem's name, we're going to force it. Unless you want to admit to what happened. So Rebbe Akiva says, Balkarcha. Rebbe Shimon Oimer, Bachayashka. After the mincha, after everything, Bachayashka. Matam Eloi Mavakre, Nemar Vishka. Let me show you real quickly what I did here. I don't know if this will help or not help. It goes like this. We have basically 3 shitas, and they're all saying pretty much the same thing. Well, there are nafkaminas when she drinks. Well, we just saw the machlokes. But in terms of where do we learn that she must drink? Period. That she must drink. There must be one pasuk that tells us she has to drink. Okay? But which one of the 3 psukim tells us that she has to drink? You and I would think it's probably the first pasuk. That's the Tanna Kama. And that's why the Tanna Kama says that she drinks before anything else. Because that pasuk is before everything else. The pasuk is written, pasuk of Daled is written before the mincha. But Rebbe Shimon says, no. That pasuk comes to say that if she drank after the fact, before the mincha, it's okay, it works. That's the first pasuk. But I'm learning from the second pasuk that she must drink water. I learned from the second pasuk. And Rebbe Akiva says I learned from the third pasuk. So you see the reds. Tanna Kama learns from the first pasuk. Rebbe Shimon learns the red from the second pasuk. Rebbe Akiva learns the red from the third pasuk. But if you look at the blues, they all learn from the same pasuk, the blue. So there's no machlokes on blue. That what? That you cannot give her to drink water if you could still see the words on the Megillah. It has to be completely erased. That they all learn from the blue. Now, the fact that I could force her to drink, Bal Karchach, so the Tanna Kama and Rebbe Shimon both learn from the third pasuk, and Rebbe Akiva learns from the first pasuk. Okay, I don't expect anybody to remember this. I certainly don't remember it, but it's here if you need it. By the way, which reminds me that the Koil, which I'm very proud of, they're taking a test on 1,200 daf this Thursday. They're working like dogs on it. If that's not enough, they're taking another test on Friday on 30 daf. Now you'd think, oh, they're already taking 1,200. What's the big deal? 30? No, it's a completely different type of test. It's from the same organization. It's from Dirshu, but the questions are much, much harder. And then they're taking on 120 daf test, which is also super hard. And tomorrow, I think it's tomorrow, they're taking on the least is, it's called the Shinantim test, a different organization. The least in our Koil is taking on 1,000 daf Gemara Rashi Taisvis, and we have all the way the entire Shas. Some of them are taking on the entire Shas Gemara Rashi Taisvis. That is tomorrow. So that's there, but it's an easier type of test. V'shinantim, not as tough as the Dirshu. Nevertheless, it's Gemara Rashi Taisvis, includes Taisvis. I'm just saying because I'm thinking now this chart. These are things that they must remember for the test. What is the 3? What are the 3 shitas of where do you learn that she has to drink? Before, after? You have to remember it like you're looking at this chart. You have to write it down, and it's not a multiple choice. You must write it down. No multiple choice questions in these tests. You're writing down answers. So wish them luck. They're taking the test. I think the toughest one probably is the 1,200 daf test. Gemara Rashi, not Gemara Rashi Taisus, from beginning of Shas through Sotah. Unbelievable. Okay. Made me think of it now that I'm looking at this chart and I have no clue. Ask me in 3 minutes what the chart says, I don't know. And they have to remember these charts throughout the entire Shas. Okay. And also, big mazel tov, by the way. They're moving to our building, the MDY building, and starting this month. They're already there now. Ben Izman, I'm learning, but starting this month, and everybody that's listening is invited to come visit and learn with them, etc. Okay. Where are we? I don't even know. Like 6 lines down. That she drinks, the pasuk comes to say that she drinks the water after she did everything. And it teaches us that she must do 3 things before she drinks water. Actually, you have to make sure that they already were makriv the mincha, they put it on the mizbeach. You have to make sure that the entire Megillah is erased. It mamish, like, to me it seems like that invisible ink stuff, like you write that and all of a sudden it gets erased. We're not familiar with this stuff. What kind of ink do we have today that you put on a piece of paper and you put it in some water and it just washes off? What? You guys, I don't know. Maybe. Huh? LED?
Yeah.
But these guys made real ink from scratch. So maybe you know how to do it. Okay. She has to say the word amen. If she doesn't say amen, there's no drinking water. So now the Gemara goes through all 3. Actually, you must put the koimetz on the mizbeach. Reb Shimon Tamei, that goes according to Reb Shimon. He holds, first goes the mincha. The drinking is all the way at the end. And that's what we always know, that she drinks. That's they taught us in school in Cheder. She drinks, and you watch her explode. That's Shittas Reb Shimon, because she did everything, including the mincha. The final step is drinking. Actually, Megillah. Ask the Gemara, what's another condition? You must make sure that the entire Megillah is erased. Okay, if you don't have a Megillah that's erased, so what are you giving her to drink? Just plain water? Water from a bottle? It has to be water that has ink in it, that has the Shem Hashem. So if it wasn't erased, of course, she's not going to drink. Yeah. They put it into the water, and some of it came off, some of it didn't come off. In other words, when you look at the Megillah, you can still see a little bit of ink. That's not good. Actually, the Kabbalah Shvuah, she has to say amen. Mishta, asked the Gemara, Mishta delishasya, homichtav kasvila. Well, you're telling me she shouldn't drink, but you could write the Megillah if she didn't say amen? First she says amen, then you write the Megillah. What are you talking about? Says Gemara Kedin Azbi, you're right, 100%. It wasn't necessary. It was just they threw it in there. Fine. But my komifligi. So what's the machlokes? Says the Gemara, what's machlokes? And here you have the chart. Abraham, don't take it off yet. We have Klosik Kroik CV, you have 3 psukim, Vihishko Kamo, Va'achar Yashka. Notice that the second pasuk doesn't say Vihishko, it says Yashka. Okay, fine. Vihishko Basra, and you have the third time that says Vihishko. Rabbanan Savri Vihishko Kamo Legufay. That makes a lot of sense as I explained, right? Because you and I would also say that the first pasuk is to tell us you have to give her to drink water. Shemashka, Va'achar Makir is Mechasa. So it comes out that first you give her water, then you bring the mincha. And then what do you do with the middle pasuk yashka? So that's what I put in there according to Nakama, the blue. The blue, you can't have any ink. Vishka Basra, what do you do with the final, the third one? I don't want to drink. The halacha that you force the drink once the Megillah was erased. Reb Shimon Savar. Now let's go to the second mandal. Reb Shimon. So he learns that she should drink from the middle pasuk, which is Pella. Why are you jumping to the middle pasuk? What happened to the first pasuk? First you do the mincha, then you give her to drink. And what do you do with the first one? If you did it out of order, okay, Reb Shimon says, you see where it says Reb Shimon under number 1? Reb Shimon number 1. Hashoyse lefnei, if you drink before the mincha, it's still kosher. B'di'evet. After the fact, it's kosher. You know what Chacham I'm going to say? It makes no sense. Why would the Torah start on a case that's after the fact? The first pasuk is telling you after the fact. The first pasuk should tell you how to do it. The second pasuk say, listen, if you didn't do it the way I told you to do it, then it's okay. That's their question on Reb Shimon. What do you do with the third one? That you could force her to drink. Rabbanan say, that makes no sense what you're saying. I like to say that the red is learned from the first pasuk, not from the second pasuk. Because if red is from the second pasuk, so what did I do with the first pasuk? To tell us a b'di'evet case. B'di'evet case, you don't start off a parsha of Sotah in a b'di'evet. You want to tell us the rules. First he tells us the rules, then he tells us what happens if people break the rules. You don't start telling me a parsha. What if somebody broke the rule of Sotah? That's not how you start. Ask the Gemara, what? Rabbi Kiva holds that you force it to drink. Look at this, Rabbi Yisai. Gewaldig. I love this. This is what we put in our mouth. We open up her mouth nice and wide with whatever device you open it up. And then, if she doesn't want to drink, you put this piece of metal that's shaped like a C. It has like a nail on the bottom. And it forces her mouth open. And you're able to pour it in nicely without her fighting it. Again, this woman has 1,000 opportunities to admit that or she could say, I don't want to drink. She could just walk away. She could say, I'm not coming to Beis Hamikdash. That's also an option. She could say, I sinned. She could say, I don't want to drink. But once you make the Kayan erase Hashem's name into the water, that's it. She could still say, I sinned. Even so, she could say, but if you're not going to say you sinned, and you made me erase the water, and now you don't want to drink, now I'm going to force your mouth open and force the water down. Rabbi Yehuda is the one that says use a cowboy. That's that piece of metal in the alligator's mouth. This is again a Yoshi picture. You force her to drink a balkarcha. Rabbi said there was a guy who had a big mosquito problem at home. So he went to the store. So the guy at the store said, listen, I have this powder. You just put it all around the powder against mosquitoes. Comes back the next day. He says, nothing. At the same amount of mosquitoes, it's killing me. He said, oh, listen, what you do is you catch a mosquito, you flip it over, you tickle its belly, so it's going to laugh. When it laughs, you throw in some powder into the mouth, and it'll kill it. This guy says, I understand. I'm holding the mosquito, I'm tickling. I'll just squeeze it and kill it. She says, oh, that's a good way. That's your way. I have a different way of doing it. Okay. I thought this guy, just thinking about the joke made me laugh. Gewaldige stuff. Chicago, it's not funny. All right, huh? No, it's different humor. So you take this cowboy, you force the mouth open, you pour the water. Rabbi Kiva argues. There's no need to force her. All we want to know is what happened there. Was she mezana? Not. We're not trying to punish her. We just want to know the facts. By her saying out loud in front of the Bezdin, finally comes the moment of truth. All the Kohanim are around. They went through the whole procedure. They can't wait to see this live. They heard all about it. She's going to explode, not explode. Let's see what happens. And she says, I don't want to drink. That means she's saying, I was mezana. That's it. That's the biggest raya. Because if not, let her drink. Let her become potter. Why are you saying you're not? By you saying you don't want to drink, you're admitting guilt. So there's no need to force the water down your throat. You're guilty. Your husband goes home, gives you a divorce, End of the story. Elo, actually, so the answer is until there's a kmitza, until you gather the flour in your hand, she could take it back. Ask the Gemara, why can't you take it back? What do you mean she can't take it back? If she doesn't want to drink, that means she's guilty. You just told me that by not drinking, you're showing that you're admitting to guilt. So what's the difference when? Before the koimets, after the koimets? So the Gemara lekash. So the Gemara very simple is the difference. When a person is shaking like a leaf and they don't want to drink, that means that they're mixed up. They might be not guilty, they might be innocent. They're so scared, they don't know. What happens if she drinks it and I don't know what? When a person is very calm and looks directly at the kohen calmly and says, I won't drink this, that means she's guilty. But the nekuda here is a little different. If she's completely with it, so what is she doing? She's playing around with the koyanim. She's making a mockery out of the bezdin. She knows that she's guilty, and she just says, "Let me go along with the whole procedure." And the last second, I'm just going to say, "I don't want to drink." Oh, you're making a joke out of this? We'll force it. But if she's physically not stable, she's shaking, she's petrified about what's going on here, but she might not be guilty. So if Hashem's name wasn't erased, great. And even if they erased it, the Shaloka did over the Kakayam Demachki, and they erased it illegally, they weren't supposed to erase it at that point. She could take it back, but Mishikar Vakayimets, once the Kmitza was put on the Mizbeach, they had all the right to erase it. At this point, she can't take it back. Kasha, the Rebbe Kiva, why? We have a contradiction in Rebbe Kiva. On one hand, he says that it's all about the erasure of Hashem's name. And always says dependent on the Kmitza, nothing to do with the Mechika. Says Gemara, we had two Talmidim, one heard it this way, one heard it that way. And with that, Rabbi Sai, have a wonderful day. Tomorrow at the same time at 1:30, be mischazik over here because we're not going to have all the Gevaldika, Lubavitchers. What do you guys call yourself? Chamatzka, Lubavitch? I don't know which one is insulting. Not. I once said it and somebody said, oh, yeah.